Sex-linked genes. What are sex-linked genes? Sex-linked genes are genes that are found on one of the chromosomes that determine sex, or on sex chromosomes. It can be X or Y chromosome. Genes found only on the Y chromosome, as example, include those that determine one form of degenerative condition, retinitis pigmentosa, and one form of deafness. These conditions can only be inherited by males, and genes found only on the X chromosome include those that determine red-green color blindness and one form of hemophilia. These traits or these conditions can be inherited by females and males since both possess at least one X chromosome. Even though the X and Y chromosomes are very different or non-homologous, they have regions that are homologous or having the same gene sequence. The genes in this region follow the same pattern of inheritance as genes on the autosomal chromosome. Most of these genes are responsible to control metabolic activities in our cells. As you can see from the picture, X and Y chromosome have differential region and homologous region. Genes on differential region of X chromosome and differential region of Y chromosome are extremely different, but genes on gene sequence on homologous region of X chromosome and Y chromosome are the same. Okay, let us focus our attention on X chromosomes since it exists on both males and females. Many of these conditions on the X chromosome are determined by recessive alleles. Since X chromosome is large enough, there are many different types of genes on X chromosome. But for this moment, let us study two genes as example that determine red-green color blindness and hemophilia. Why these conditions are more common in men than in women? That means why red-green color blindness and hemophilia is more common on men than women. Because men only have one X chromosome. There is no corresponding dominant allele on the Y chromosome to mask its effect. A man needs to inherit only one X chromosome with a recessive allele. So the condition is more likely to occur on men. Don't forget that. These conditions are determined or controlled by recessive alleles. In other ways, why these conditions are less common in women than men. Women have two X chromosomes. If only one of them carry the recessive alleles, the dominant allele on other X chromosome would mask its effect. A woman to be affected must inherit two. So this condition is less likely to happen on women. Sex-linked features determined by recessive alleles on the X chromosome share the following characteristics. 1. They are much more common among males. Affected males inherit the allele from their mother. Affected females inherit one allele from each parent. Females who are heterozygous for the condition are called carriers. This condition or these traits may skip a generation and then more likely to appear in the males only. Genotypes of sex-linked features. Let us take red-green color blindness as our example. Capital P represents the allele for normal vision and small b represents the allele for red-green color blindness, the recessive one. Possible genotypes and phenotypes are X capital BY normal male, X small by affected male, X capital B normal female, X capital B carrier female, X small b affected female. If sex-linked features are not known, we have to use the following hints or principles. 1. It clearly skips a generation. Second, it is more common in males, and the only affected female has an affected father. Here is the pedigree or family tree that shows the inheritance of red-green color blindness. Square indicates male, circle indicates female, shade indicates affected, and non-shade indicates normal vision. For example, what are the genotypes of individuals 11 and 7? As we can see from the family tree, individual 7 is female, and when we see her, she is normal phenotypically. But to determine or figure out its genotype, we have to see her parents' phenotype and her offspring's phenotype. When we do this, her father number 1 and her son number 15 are affected. That means shows X capital B, X small b, or heterozygous or carrier, because her son's genotype is X small by, and her son can only acquire this X small b allele from her, from his mother. Sex-influenced traits. Sex-influenced trait is a trait that is more likely to occur in one sex, but may sometimes occur in other sex. For example, trait pattern baldness occur in males because male testosterone hormone makes the allele dominant in males. Males to be bald, they need to inherit only one pattern baldness allele, whether the second allele is baldness allele or non-baldness allele. Females must inherit two alleles before they go bald, because the alleles for pattern baldness is recessive in females due to the absence of testosterone hormone in females that can amplify the action of these alleles. So, the level of baldness in females is minimized by the low level of action of the alleles due to the absence of testosterone hormone, as I told you before, which results in thinning of hairs. Other best examples is growth of beard in goats and humans. Most often, male goats and male human have beards, but females rarely have, and even the existence of beard is not much observable or detectable. This is due to male hormonal action that let this trait occur frequently, even if one recessive allele exists in male. Comb in chickens. Comb frequently occur in males than females, but it rarely occurs in females. Sex-limited traits. Sex-limited traits are traits that occur only in one sex, never occurs in another sex. For example, lactation. Lactation means the process of producing milk to feed the young. This only occurs in females, never in males. The second best example, cryptorchidism or undescended testicles, or the disappearance of testes after birth, only happen in males, never in females, since females have no testes. Both sex-influenced and sex-limited traits are expressed differently in two sexes. male and female. However, the genes that determine these traits are not carried on sex chromosomes, so they cannot be said to be sex-linked. This trait is only determined by sex, being male or being female, which is related with sex hormones, simply determined by the action of sex hormones.